Does Tongkat Ali actually increase testosterone? In this video, what I'm going to do is take a look at the benefits associated with Tongkat Ali, otherwise known as Eurycoma longifolia. So for those of you who are brand new to my channel, my name is Lucas, the founder of Ergogenic Health, and my mission is to bring you the most cutting edge health information that you'll struggle to find on Google. So please do me a favor and like this video and hit subscribe down below to stay up to date with the latest and greatest health research. So the long awaited Tongkat Ali, the video on Tongkat Ali is finally here. I've had many people request for this particular video, and for me to analyze the benefits and explain how Tongkat Ali actually works in males. So first of all, let's ask ourselves, what is Tongkat Ali? Tongkat Ali is otherwise known as Eurycoma longifolia, which is a herb that is commonly known as Malaysian ginseng or longjack. Now, the aphrodisiac effects of Tongkat Ali are quite reliable and appear to span a large variety of animal models, with some clear human clinical trials that demonstrate positive effects on sexual functioning and libido. Now, it is difficult to do a comparative analysis between other herbal aphrodisiacs to assess potency, but Eurycoma longifolia or Tongkat Ali does appear to be one of the top or the premier herbs to increase sexual functioning and libido in men. Now, in addition to the aphrodisiac effects of Tongkat Ali, it can also increase sperm production and may directly act as a pro-erectile agent. At least one molecule in Eurycoma, 9-hydroxycanthan 6-1, is associated with both a delay in ejaculation as well as pro-erectile properties, although the ability of this molecule to act via consuming Eurycoma extract is actually not known. In other words, we've never truly isolated this particular compound found within the herb to see if that is solely responsible for its pro-erectile and aphrodisiac effects. Now, before we get into how Tongkat Ali actually affects a man's hormonal status, I think it's really important that we understand that many of these adaptogenic herbs, many of these, natural testosterone boosters, like the ones that I've spoken about in my testosterone course, you'll see a link down below. Many of these herbs actually work through stimulating neurotransmitters and actually binding to particular receptors in the brain that elicit some of these beneficial effects. They may not directly affect our serum levels of these hormones, but what they do appear to interact with is the various receptors and enzymes and pathways within the brain to give us that feeling as if they're boosting testosterone. So that's one really important point to note just before we get into some of the actual hormonal effects of Tongkat Ali. So the key study in young men that I really want to illustrate was actually published in the International Journal of Andrology, the Andrologia Journal. And the study was titled The Effect of Eurycoma longifolia on the Regulation of Reproductive Hormones in Young Males. Now, obviously this study was conducted in young men, so it does hold some merit, and it does appear quite promising. Now, the key findings of the study, and I'll just sort of outline the study itself. The effect of Eurycoma longifolia on reproductive hormones' regulation among young males in the current study was assessed by measuring testosterone, free testosterone, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, estradiol, and SHBG. The present findings revealed that 2 weeks of Tongkat Ali supplementation at 600 milligrams per day, which consists of about 8.7 milligrams of one of the active constituents, Eurycoma known, significant increases in testosterone, increasing at 15%, free testosterone increased to 34%. But what's also really interesting is that estrogen also increased by 30%. So this sort of flies in the face of many people who think that Tongkat Ali is an aromatase inhibitor. It does not appear to possess this effect based in this study. It actually appears to increase estrogen, which is quite interesting, but it would make sense. Anything that would bump up total testosterone production would have a downstream effect of actually increasing estradiol through the natural aromatase enzyme pathway. Now, the lack of changes in luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, and SHBG levels suggests a lesser effect of Eurycoma longifolia on the HPG or hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis after 2 weeks of supplementation. However, the increased testosterone level could possibly be explained via activation of the HPA axis, so the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. Many people forget that the adrenals can contribute to a very small amount of our androgen output. Thus, this study is the first to suggest that Tongkat Ali supplementation increases testosterone level via activation of both either the HPG and HPA axis. So quite interesting findings there. Now, this next study was conducted in aging men. The study was titled A 6-Month Double-Blind Placebo-Controlled Randomized Trial to Evaluate the Effect of Tongkat Ali and Concurrent Training on Erectile Function and Testosterone Levels in Androgen Deficiency of Aging Males, or ADAM. So obviously this was a 6-month randomized double-blind placebo-controlled 4-arm clinical trial consisting of 45 men, and they were obviously assigned into 4 separate groups. And the group that received Tongkat Ali received 200 milligrams of Tongkat Ali, and they also underwent training at the same time, so 3 times a week for 60 minutes at progressive intensity. Now, what they noted was that erectile function demonstrated major improvements in both interventions. However, the most significant results were obtained by men allocated to the training and supplementation of Tongkat Ali. So it appears that concomitant training or concurrent training with the use of Tongkat Ali appears to actually improve erectile function. Now, some of the clinical implications: a 200 milligram supplement of Tongkat Ali and the practice of progressive training for 6 months led to significant changes and improvements in erectile function in aging males. Now, this is obviously a promising study, and it does appear to also influence quality of life for both men and also younger men, based on the initial study that I showed you earlier. Here are some other benefits of Tongkat Ali that I want to illustrate. This is sourced from LJ100.com. So some of the weight loss and mood benefits. So Tongkat Ali has been shown to reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and it's also been shown to improve various mood profiles, particularly keeping men calm. It also prevents dieters from binge eating to achieve successful weight loss. It reduces fatigue and tension. It reduces anger and confusion, increasing focus and concentration. From the andropause/healthy aging perspective, Tongkat Ali may be able to act as a natural alternative to TRT, although in some cases TRT is absolutely necessary for men that just cannot produce enough testosterone naturally with the help of these supplements. It's also been shown to promote overall well-being. It supports vitality by maintaining healthy IGF-1 levels. Now, what's also key is that it maintains healthy androgen levels without affecting prostate-specific antigen, so it does not appear to affect PSA levels. And it also enhances comprehensive immunity both in middle-aged men and women. From the athletic performance and sports performance, again captured from LJ100.com, so it maintains normal high free and total testosterone levels. It promotes an anabolic state and reduces the catabolic state by lowering cortisol, helping with recovery. In this study, they actually saw benefits in terms of improving endurance and stamina for athletes of all ages. It improves energy via accelerated production of ATP. It improves performance, for example, the bench press, leg press, hand grip test, and arm circumference. From the sexual health and libido aspect, obviously Tongkat Ali is renowned for its aphrodisiac effects, so improving sexual functioning. It inhibits SHBG in some studies to increase free testosterone in the blood. It stimulates cyclic GMP and cyclic AMP, relaxing the smooth muscle that enables a spontaneous penile erection. It helps to convert pregnenolone to pheromones, actually increasing sexual desire and possibly helping with attracting the opposite sex as well through pheromone secretion. And obviously it improves erection hardness and duration and sexual satisfaction. Now, this particular study was really fascinating. It looked at how Tongkat Ali could interact with the dopaminergic system. Now, this study here was titled Brain, Cortical, and Hippocampal Dopamine, a new mechanistic approach for Eurythoma longifolia, well-known aphrodisiac activity and its chemical characterization. Now, they noted that by Tongkat Ali interacting with the dopamine system, it caused significant reductions in mounting, intromission, and ejaculation latencies and increased the penile erection index. Now, what's also interesting is that Tongkat Ali actually increased total body weight and relative weights of seminal vesicles and the prostate. So some men have noted increases in BPH-like symptoms when they use Tongkat Ali. Now, interestingly, they noted that total and free serum testosterone and brain, cortical, and hippocampal dopamine content was significantly elevated in treated groups with no significant effects on serotonin or noradrenaline content. So yet again, we're seeing a herb that's notorious for increasing libido and motivation and drive, interacting with the dopamine system. Many of you know that I'm a huge fan of, compounds that can interact with and promote the natural production of dopamine. And so Tongkat Ali does appear to be yet another compound that we can utilize to strengthen dopaminergic tone in the brain. Does Tongkat Ali have the ability to increase a man's load size? Does it make a man's load thicker and richer? Well, this study does appear to back this particular claim. Tongkat Ali does have the ability to increase seminal viscosity in healthy individuals given 200 milligrams of Tongkat Ali per day, and may boost the sperm count of those classified as infertile enough to impregnate. So this study used 200 milligrams and found increases of sperm concentration by 65.5% at the 9-month period, while the 19.3% increase in seminal volume noted failed to reach statistical significance at the 9-month timeframe, and approximately twice as many sperm exhibited normal morphology. So we can see that Tongkat Ali would be a powerful herb to potentially consider including as part of a male fertility protocol or male fertility stack. Now, I also want to mention some of the other interesting properties of Tongkat Ali. The 10-hydroxycanthin 6-1 or 6-one, or the uricoma-lactone. A lot of these constituents found within Tongkat Ali actually possess anti-malarial properties or anti-malarial effects. In addition, some of the alkaloids do appear to possess anti-cancer-like properties, and the plant extracts are known to possess obviously the anti-diabetic properties, aphrodisiac, antipyretic, and antimicrobial properties. As far as side effects, some individuals, some guys do notice in high doses, Tongkat Ali may make younger men feel a little bit more irritable or impatient. It can also elicit an OCD like libido and or sex drive. So it can make a man constantly think about, sex and potentially even just masturbation in general. For some men, it also may delay ejaculation. Although you may think of this as a benefit, there are some men out there that do suffer from, delayed ejaculation. And so Tongkat Ali may not be beneficial for that caliber of men. Some guys do notice increases in aggression. I personally never noticed this myself, although I felt actually more confident. There was a night that I used Tongkat Ali, went out on a double date, and I remember feeling extremely confident, almost to the point where I was actually becoming too cocky and a little bit arrogant in my behaviors because I felt so just primed and so I had that alpha energy. It felt like I had, very high DHT, super calm, very confident. Also, some men notice, a warmer body temperature. Maybe that's the fluctuations in estrogen, I'm not sure. So as far as dosages with Tongkat Ali, we're looking at about 200 milligrams to 600 milligrams per day. Now, as far as actually consuming the herb, I've always been under the impression, and I always believe that actually tasting the absolute bitterness, although many people have probably tried Tongkat Ali and know how bitter this particular herb is, I personally like to experience the bitterness. I think that's part of its therapeutic effect, to actually mix it in a bit of water and actually shot it back and actually make sure it hits, some of the receptors on your tongue, because these bitter receptors are actually involved in stimulating digestive enzymes. They can stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So personally, I like to use it diluted, a small bit of the powder, or open up the capsules and put it in a bit of warm water, and I'll have that, either before the gym, or perhaps even in the evening. It doesn't really affect my sleep. So you will be seeing a link to Tongkat Ali in the video description down below if you want to purchase Tongkat Ali. Hopefully you learned something new in this video. If you've used Tongkat Ali, drop a comment down below. Let's get a discussion going. How did you respond? Would you use it again? Let's get a discussion going. And for those guys who really care about optimizing their testosterone levels and they want to reach where I got my levels to, which is approximately 988 nanograms per deciliter naturally, I built out an entire course that goes through all the herbs that I used, all the supplements that I took, the type of training that I did, the type of foods that I was eating, and some other biohacks to really max out my testosterone levels. So be sure to check that link out in the video description. Otherwise, guys, thank you for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.